Y'all ready for some news? You ready for some news? Yes. It's that time. The time you've been waiting for. The good news, the bad news, and the other shit. Ladies and gentlemen, the good news, the bad news, the other shit. It's good to be back with this, even though it's always seeming to be bad news, at least troublesome news. And today is no different. We're glad to be back for the fall season 2018, and we've got a bunch of things to talk about. One of the things is the ongoing amounts of sexual scandal in the world. You know, when it comes to the Catholic Church, for example, where does it stop? Whole countries.
Amazing, isn't it? Wow.
And this is an ongoing issue, and when I say when it seems to be this many as 10% of the priests involved in some of this activity, it's just amazing. What is going to happen? What is going to happen to the Catholic Church? And so the world today is rife with sexual scandal. I just got a report, I got it somewhere here, that the Pentagon released a report that says they have a number of Pentagon facilities that are experiencing greater than 500 instances of sexual assault a year. Greater than 500. I think I posted it on Facebook, Vic.
Really? Okay.
The article. I'm trying to get everything out there on Facebook. When I put these things out, I'm going to see if it's up there too. But 500 instances of sexual assault per year at some facilities. So that is amazing. That is amazing stuff. And so is it really, really the norm that sexual assault is like that? That gets us to the whole Kavanaugh thing where he's being accused. Now a second accuser's come out. And some of the GOP has been trying to make excuses for him. You know, some of them saying things is like boys will be boys. Let's make this statement for the record. It is not the norm for teenage boys to sexually assault women. Okay?
Agreed.
There are a lot of sexual assaults that occur, but that's not boyish activity.
Right.
Nor would be killing animals and
No.
you know, poisoning the cats in the neighborhood. All of those things would mean that your child that you're making excuses for may be the next Jeffrey Dahmer. But so we are faced today with a world where it's time for change. Now let me tell you, I want to remind you that as bad as it seems, these kinds of things are good for society, because when you have these kinds of issues come up, when you have these kinds of confrontations, that's when society is moving forward. I can tell you, same way as it goes to racism, sexism, when I was a kid, it was a standard. It was everywhere. It was part of pop culture. Everything from whistling at women walking down the streets to the fabled "Hey Mama." remember that one, you guys? Hey Mama.
Right.
I mean, these things are part of our culture, but hopefully we've grown. I know I've grown as a man. I behave certainly differently. You watch your mouth. You don't make as many sexist statements. I don't believe the same things. Mainly because I had the privilege of being trained as a physician by many women. In the pediatrics program at LA County, I had women attendings probably more than I had male. Okay, and specifically the ladies who taught me how to run ventilators for the babies were women. The head of the nursery, the neonatal intensive care unit, was a famous woman. So I was trained by women. I certainly learned the value of women, starting with my mother, who I couldn't even outrun her until I was in like the 10th grade. So The world is moving forward. And I think it's time for us as men to stand up to and be counted. These are our mothers, our sisters, our women, our friends, our co-workers, and they deserve to be treated as professionals and not to be harassed. I can remember an incident when I had a party and people got drunk.
Yeah.
And I think I can remember an incident where the vultures were hovering around.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
You could have an event and people would get drunk and
Yeah.
you would see some of the vultures
Right.
come out.
True.
And
True.
I was like, clear, not at my house. Not at my parties. No. It's a zone of consent.
Right.
So it's out there. It's out there for us to stand up to. It's out there as men for us to say to other folks, no. And, alcohol is the great excuse. Alcohol is the great excuse for people to get drunk and then have sex. Or so they think. Or they don't remember. Or they don't know. So there is part of the problem, too. So we have a lot going on today. I had to mention that whole thing because everything that's happening as it relates to the Supreme Court confirmation sort of takes us back to other issues, right? It takes us back to she's claiming
Right.
that a drunken Kavanaugh assaulted her.
Right.
And then there's another female who's come forward.
Yeah. Number 2. Okay. All right. Wait. Hey. Look. Okay. See, I don't want to see. They always say, "Well, Victor, you don't come from that club. You're just hating, right?" So if you come from Yale and Harvard, you don't question higher education and the practices and what people do. It's supposed to be set apart from everybody else, right? It's supposed to be exceptional, right? But aren't we talking about learned behavior and sometimes acquiring a kind of an example you see amongst others, entitlement, the whole thing, But I'm not blaming the whole institution. I'm just saying when you have a certain amount of power and you are an overachiever, you are some place where hey, I don't want to put this in their mouth. I'm not saying godlike, but when you go to Yale and Harvard, okay, what is the reputation at hand? Now, I would say for the most part, most of those who attend, excellent. Applaud all day, okay? But you and I know this.
Well, all those old famous places always are full of racism and sexism.
Okay.
Shit, that's a standard. I mean, racism and sexism is as American as an apple pie. That is America, always has been America. They don't like to admit that, but that is America.
I'm just glad you're standing up. That's.
Well, I'm glad they're standing up, and another thing. I hate to say it like this, but I'm just glad. If the victim had been a working class black or Hispanic person, it would be totally different. I hate to say it, but I feel glad that at least it's a professional person that they have to treat with some respect. It's a professional white woman, which means they have to treat her with a different respect than they treat a professional black woman or a professional Latina. See, so because it is a white woman and a professor and also a graduate of these prestigious institutions, because of those things, she has a different credibility. But what if she wasn't? What if she wasn't those things? What would be the level of credibility that we would give her? It would be very different, I think. So here we are in a different situation. And people are upset because the Republicans appear to be trying to push through this confirmation ahead of the midterm elections. They want to get it done. They want to push it through. And so people are trying to resist and fight this in every way they can. which I understand and I embrace, but it still may happen that Kavanaugh's confirmed. So I took a little time. I took a little time to think about this, as I so often do late at night when my parents aren't home. I took a little time to think about this, and I had some different ideas because I was thinking and then watching TV, and one of the commentators said, you know, I can't remember who it was, but they said, you know, Supreme Court members can be indicted. And at that moment, my dream changed, and my daydream went forward in a different zone, and it became sort of obvious to me that a Kavanaugh confirmation could actually be a GOP nightmare. People say, what do you mean? Let's imagine that he is confirmed. Let's imagine, because it's still, they say this looks, they have the votes. The pressure's on for people not to vote for the confirmation, but supposedly they have the votes. So if he does get confirmed, let me tell you, if he gets confirmed, I'm predicting a media circus, because the folks that be Professor Ford, they're going to sue him. They're going to do both. They're going to do civil court. There's no statute of limitations on sexual assault. So can you imagine someone being newly appointed to the Supreme Court and within the same weeks or month indicted for rape? Imagine the Republican fallout for that one, Vic, where you would have ongoing. How long would it last? 6 months, a year? How long would you have that as a news item?
And we can put on a bet if you want. Let's do this. Percentage that there is a number 3.
There's 2.
What bet? What's the percentage? Because that right now,
I would say it looks like a good bet.
So here's where you go. They're all hunkering down, right? They are going like this. We could handle 1. 2 is a big deal. 3.
3's a lifestyle.
Oh, brother.
So I'm predicting. So let's see what happens. If it doesn't, the best thing that could happen, think it through now. The absolute best thing that could happen would be for Kavanaugh to resign or remove himself from, consideration. That would be the best, because you would have a flurry of media activity. Republicans would try to find another nominee, but the news would kind of settle down a little bit more. Okay, that's why that's the best. If he gets confirmed, the next thing I told you happens. He gets taken to court in a variety of ways by the forces that be. And that'll be a GOP nightmare. Worse than any situation they could ever imagine. And like Victor just said, if a third one comes forth, whoo-wee.
Can't fight it, man. It's
whoo-wee.
You almost go. It's one of those cases where you sit there and said, I just got inebriated or drunk for one night, never before and never after. So that's what the hope is that this was just one of those simple dares, and he got out of control, and it wasn't right, it was wrong, and it was assault, if it is true. But typically there's a pattern of behavior when you tend to say, I indulge in the happy juice. And if that is confirmed, then you start looking at the percentages of the next one coming. And so to me, no one can confirm that he is what they call a casual drinker. None of this is...
Elise was getting drunk as a young man.
wait.
He was at least getting drunk.
Wait a minute. Okay, let me ask you this, Mark. Let me ask you this.
Victor never got drunk. I've been knowing this man. He might have a glass of champagne once in a while.
I will never say never. There was a celebration. I experimented.
'Cause I had never even seen you even
You would
high,
yeah.
nothing.
I made a promise. I had to figure it out because so many people are having a good time. That shows you how the ignorance I had. And growing up, I said, everybody's, drinking, and they are feeling good. And I'm going, when I turn 21, I'm going to be over the safety of a friend's house, and I'm going to say this is true because it can't go away. I said, give me that Bacardi. It was 151. I said, I'm going to see what it feels like when everybody's happy.
Where was this? See, if I ain't never seen Victor, I've seen him have half a glass of champagne every 3 to 5 years. So, and I know him for a long time, so I don't ever know if 151.
No, hey, look, this is a little bit before. It's before I met you, and the reason I know because there's a couple of people out there that's going to say, Mario, he did.
Dwayne Jones.
Dwayne was there. Dwayne Jones.
He's a culprit himself.
Right. And another friend of mine won't put out there. All I know is, Lord have mercy, I couldn't figure out why people want to go this far. And did I get sick? Yes, I did. And that was it. For me.
Did you get drunk?
Yeah, terribly, man. Terribly.
And how do you relate to that experience? Did it make you want to fornicate?
No, because when you get sloppy, you skip over the other part because what you're trying to figure out why the Earth axis is spinning faster than normal. All those things are happening to me. So I got way past that. I just went straight into, I can't really walk. And that's it. I can't.
Well, you didn't think of raping anybody at that moment,
No,
did
man,
you?
never even.
Unfortunately, everybody when they get drunk, this is the truth too. Not everybody dreams of raping people when they get drunk.
Right.
It ain't their first thing. Oh, I'm drunk. Let's rape somebody.
Right.
Sexually assault. Some people want to get drunk, and watch old rom-coms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not everybody gets drunk and attacks somebody. So anyway, the drum continues. Remember, this is going to play out. We will be here on Thursday. I'm going to look at some kind of a way to see if I can do some bunch of postings during the Senate hearings that are supposed to be going off this Thursday with both Professor Ford and Kavanaugh. So we will see. And remember, when it comes to the outcomes, should there be a confirmation, you heard it here first. Ladies and gentlemen, the good news.